Alright folks, what we got here is a Rav4 4-wheel drive, 4-cylinder. What we're doing here is the transmission output seal, or some people call it a axle seal. Okay, that's where it is right there. Let me see if I can get you a flashlight, get you a better idea. Okay, let's turn on the flashlight. Alright, so it's got a leak dripping all over the driveway. It's coming from right there. Transmission output shaft seal, or CV axle seal. Alright, I'm going to explain to you how I got to this point. Take the wheel off. There's a 30mm socket. Okay, takes off the big nut off the axle right here in the middle. Okay, then you take off your tie rod end. Okay, pull that off to the side. That's a 17. Then you got the 3 bolts and nuts for the lower bore joint. I took that off of the arm instead of disconnecting the bore joint, and instead of disconnecting these 2 strut bolts, because then you're going to ruin your alignment. So these bolts will fit right in there perfectly. Alignment should go back pretty much right into the order. So once I disconnected the 3 bolts, I was able to push the control arm down, pull this up out of the way. Right now I made this little fugazi little tie strap to just hold it out of the way so I can get this whole clearance in there to get to that axle. So now we're at the point where we're going to get a pry bar. You want to pry up into that axle and give it a little push this way, and this whole assembly should come right out. Alright, but if you look at the seal, you look at the leak. It's a small leak, but it's just annoying to the point where it gets all over the driveway. Alright, so it's starting to come around. Okay, so you can see it splashing around. So after a while, you can only have so many oil leaks in your driveway, then it gets really annoying. So I'm going to pop the little seal out and we're going to clean up everything. And that's what we're going to do, right? Get the little pry bar, I'm going to stick it right in there and try to separate it from the transmission case without breaking everything, of course. So when you pop it out with the pry bar, it's going to leak. So get prepared for that. Okay? So don't forget, you got to top off the transmission fluid after you do that. So what I also did, since I'm by myself, I wire tied the axle. So when I do pry it, it's not going to come flying and fall on the ground. So it's nice and supported. It's loose. I'm going to remove it right now. Alright. So as you know already, when you pry it, you stuck it in there. This is a dust shield over here. Okay, this is the dust shield. So when you put it in there and you pry it, you're going to end up bending the dust shield. So you can do one of 2 things. You can either change the whole axle while it's here. Even though this axle seems good, I'm going to leave it alone. Otherwise, pay a needle nose and just bend that shield back a little bit and make it as round as possible. Okay, it's basically just a dust shield to keep the dust off the seal itself. Then you want to look at the seal surface over here. Spin it all the way around. Make sure it's good. There's no gouges on there, because if there is, then yeah, definitely change this drive axle shaft, CV shaft. Okay, as you can tell, it's still dripping. It's making a mess. All right, we're gonna go tackle that seal now. You see it's dripping out. There it is this way. There is the seal, and hopefully they sent me the right one. All right. Let's go tackle that bugger. Alright, when it's time to pop the seal out, it's not going to be very pretty. To show you what I did here. Take a little pry bar, stick it through the little hole that's here. Go here inside the seal, go behind it, give it a nice little push, and it'll pop right out. Okay, when it pops out, all that oil that's in there is going to come flying in your face. Ask me how I know. Alright. Now it's going to come pissing out until it levels off. So I'm going to have to get a pail over here and cover it. Alright, this is the seal. Unfortunately, it does not look like the seal that I just bought. Totally different. Alright. Back to AutoZone, or I'm going to have to go to the dealer. Alright, folks. So the seal is wrong. Okay, this is the AutoZone seal. Left side transmission seal. It's got to be a totally different seal altogether. This might be the inside of the transmission, because you could tell by the hole. See the size? I'll bring this one over for you. Look at the center hole. Okay, totally different size. I think this is what they call a differential bearing output seal. You got to get it from the dealer. All right, I'm going to show you this over here. See, there's the bearing. Since this is a transfer case and that's considered the differential, even the Toyota guy had a little hard time finding it. But yeah, it's going to be a differential output seal. I'll show you the part number, the receipt that I got. So since it won't be in until tomorrow, hopefully it will be here tomorrow, I went and I just used my favorite brake cleaner that's going to be discontinued soon, and I cleaned up the whole area. All right, sprayed everything up, clean up what I can, whatever is oily, get it ready for the next job. Okay, cleaned up my axle, sprayed it up nice and clean. You can see even the tag shows up. All right, I also have, I told you to see already, sway bar link. All right, this is the sway bar link for the one side. All right, this is about $44. Okay, I mean, get a cheaper one for the Duralast brand, but it's only 1 year. There's a lifetime. Another $3 might all spend the money. Oh, it's windy out. There comes my rigs. All right, talking about that sway bar link. That sway bar link came over here straight down. It was in the way. So I tried to remove it nicely. It wasn't gonna go. Okay, it uses a American Allen in there. Okay, and that's stripped out. Then you try to get a nut, spin that out with a 17. That ain't coming out because the whole joint was spinning like a ball. So then I tried needle nose in there. I tried vice grip needle nose in there. Doesn't work. I tried a big vice grip. The only problem is if you look at the spline, see the splines in there? This washer here is splined on there. Okay, and because it's splined, you can't get too much of a tool in there. See, it's too fat. So you have to use a needle nose vice grip just to get enough of the nut to back up just a little bit so you have some play. Once you have some play, I tried to grab the fat washer instead, but then that just spins out and it stripped it. That's why it looks the way it is there. So that's why you have to try to get some room in there. Once I got the room in there, then I used the big fat vice grips and I held it in there to spin it out. But this would not come out. Right, this is 2012, it's 2022 right now. So yeah, 10 years of rust ain't going nowhere. So just to get the axle out, I had cut it off. Had enough of it, I cut it off so I can at least do the axle job. I can always get the sway bar link later on. But end up being that it's the wrong seal, so I'm screwed anyway. So look at this solid, nice rod. So I cut it off there, I cut it off the bottom too to give me this enough room. So now I'm going to work on this one, try to get this one out. Okay, same thing. Okay, you can see the fat washer, which is part of the joint. Okay, so if you can grab that, whatever can fit in there, you just need to grab that joint, because this thing is just spinning, spinning, and spinning. So you got to change it. There's no way you can save that, because once the Allen bolt screws in there and it's stripped, forget it. All right, so that's where I am now. I'm going to wait for tomorrow to get the seal from the dealer. The dealer, it's about $40, give or take. All right, let me show you a receipt. All right, so here's the receipt. That is the part number for it, 90311-552. All right, tax and oil comes out to about $40, give or take. All right, so you have to go with an original one. Yeah, so go with the original one. Looks totally different. All right, that's the way the seal looks like. All right, gotta wait till tomorrow. Until now, it's cleanup time, and then cut this little sucker off, so it'll be smooth sailing tomorrow. Don't forget, it'll be constantly dripping out that seal that's missing. Okay, so keep up with that. Keep it nice and clean, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao. All right, just in case you guys want to see what it looks like. Okay, squeeze the little vice grip in there. Use an impact wrench only because spinning with a ratchet is going to be a bitch. So I want to try it right here. There you go. Voila. After 4 or 5 tries, it finally came out. All right. That's one. Here's what the bottom one looked like. See how the washer breaks off? You can see it's splined. So it used to be part of that. Yeah, these are not coming off easy. That's for sure. All right. All right, here's the seal from the dealer. 40 bucks later. All right, here we are, folks. We got the seal. We're gonna put the seal in, which I did already. You know what I did? I used the old seal. I put it over it like that. Okay? I tapped it with the butt end of a hammer. Okay? Just to get it set, nice and square. Then, I used a nice 2x4 straight across. Hit it flat, right in, like this. Hit it a couple times. Check it. Make sure it goes in square. And it should be just about flush with the case. Alright, make sure it's even, just the way it is all the way around. If not, you can just tap it a little bit. You want to make it even. You don't want the seal to be cocked in any way. Alright, so if it's going to be even with the case, make sure it's even with the case. If it's a little lower on one side, make sure this side is also pushed in too. Alright, and now off to put the rest of this bugger on. Alright, the shaft is going to go right in there and plug in with no problem, and then the rest is going to go in there. Alright. Alright, you push it right in. A little C-clip in there, a little clamp. Goes in nice and solid. You know when it's in because it'll click. Okay, and now it's time to take apart this contraption. Okay, and then bend this in to the bearing over there. Alright, so you pull back this whole assembly just enough to catch the spline, give a little twist, and it should pop right in through this side. Alright, I gotta put the phone down in order to catch you guys. Alright. Alright. Not sure where I left off. The power washing has stopped. So let's go back to where I was. CV axle. Put it through the hole here. Okay. Put a nut on there temporarily. I put the tie rod together, tighten it up, put a new cotter pin in. I temporarily put my sway bar links in. Okay, the one from AutoZone. AutoZone also comes with the extra fat. It's not even a washer because it's threaded. It's like a nut. So I'm going to assume that it goes on the joint side, so it looks like the fat washer that was on the factory one. Then it's a nut, right? So that's a 17 nut, 17 for the tie rod. As for the board joint on the bottom, okay, 2 hands, 1 on each side. Pull the control arm down, okay. Slip it under the board joint. Put in your 17mm nuts and the bolt, okay, and pulls it down over there. And we're going to tighten it all up. So we're going to tighten this up. We're going to tighten this up. All right, the nut back there is the smaller nut is a 17. All right, I'm going to tighten that all up. Tighten that all up. And I'm going to tighten this up. All right, make it nice and tight. And then I'm going to go get the specs and then torque them down to specs. And I think we're going to be good. All right, so let me go finish this part. All right, with everything all assembled, everything's all tightened and torqued down to specs, okay? Sway bar links. 3 bolts for the lower control arm to the ball joint, CV joint, tie rod. Don't forget to put a new cotter pin in there. And that's it. We're going to put the wheel on, and don't forget the bottom dust cover. I forgot to put that in there when I first started it, but I'm sure you would have ran into that already. So dust cover back on, wheels back on, tighten up your wheels, and we're good to go. And start it up, warm it up, and put some transmission fluid in. All the ones that leaked out, you got to fill it back up. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.